yeah, that was a shock to me.
Why was you shocked? I know when I interviewed Dame, he said y'all overreacted. He said he was going to make you a vice president just like him, since y'all both had labels.
I don't think that's true because I was trying to get a label for state property for the longest. You know, I had an imprint and everything that I did on my own called Criminal Background Records, but it never came to fruition. And I don't think that set well with Jay neither. Him being on vacation and then hearing that Cam was the vice president. But like I said, maybe that's what Dane was thinking. It just, we never had that conversation.
Beanie Sigel just dropped a bomb. He said Memphis Bleek should have been vice president of Roc-A-Fella Records instead of Cameron. He's calling straight cap on Dame Dash's whole business plan. Now let's keep it 100. This is one of those moments that takes you right back to the chaos of the early 2000s at Roc-A-Fella Records, when egos, power, and loyalty were fighting for the same spot. Beanie wasn't even talking like a bitter artist. He sounded like a man who saw the truth up close and finally decided to speak on it. He said it plain. When Dame Dash announced Cam as VP, it shocked the whole camp. Bleek called him like, yo, what's going on? Even Beanie admitted he was hurt for Bleek because out of everyone under that Roc-A-Fella umbrella, Bleek earned that position first. Day one loyalty, years of groundwork, always 10 tones down for Jay-Z. And yet, Dame Dash moved in silence, made an announcement, and didn't even tell the family. Now I'm about to play this clip for y'all, but before I do, I just need y'all to like, leave your thoughts down below in the comment section, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
But in real time, when you started hearing that Cam, he was going to be the vice president, take me through that. If I'm not mistaken, you called Jay about that, right?
I don't even think Jay was in the country because I remember calling Jay and telling him, like, yo, what the f is going on? But like I said, it's in the music, man. Can't go on this way. If you put puppies in the oven, do that make them biscuits? For hungry dogs in the kitchen, will they eat the kids? Yeah, it's all in the music, but yeah, that was a shock to me.
Why was you shocked? I know when I interviewed Dame, he said y'all overreacted. He said he was going to make you a vice president just like him, since y'all both had labels.
I don't think that's true because I was trying to get a label for state property for the longest. You know, I had an imprint and everything that I did on my own called Criminal Background Records, but it never came to fruition. And I don't think that set well with Jay neither. Him being on vacation and then hearing that Cam was the vice president. But like I said, maybe that's what Dane was thinking. It just, we never had that conversation. I remember Bleek calling me like, yo, what the f? You hear this? Like, what's going on? He was like, Dame just announced Cam as being vice president of Roc-A-Fella. I was more so hurt for Bleek because if anybody, I think Bleek would have been in that position. Being as though that he was there even before me. But like I said, man, all that shit old, man. I don't really care about none of that shit. You know what I mean? I'm good. I'm neutral. I'm cool with everybody. I'm just where I'm focusing on me.
Nah, I feel you. I heard the first time that you met Too Short was the first time you were out for Jay.
Yeah. First time I met Too Short and Jay at the same time. They was working on, It Was All Good a week ago. Yeah, that was the first time I met Short. They was in the studio doing that record. That's the first day I met Jay too. The first day I rapped for Jay.
How was that like?
Beanie Sigel. That's how that was like. It was good. It was good enough to land me a deal with Roc-A-Fella Records. Yeah, a couple raps. I was rapping for him, and he was sitting there. And he'd get up, walk out the room, come back in. People was rapped again. He'd get up, leave the room. But I heard when he was leaving the room, he was going crazy. He was telling the people that I came there with, like, don't let him go back to Philly. They was trying to keep me in New York. I had to get back though. I just gave Pac a 1,500 back. He owed me a stack. I was like, nah, I got to go back to Philly. And it was a Friday. I might not seen Pac all weekend.
Well, how they get back in contact with you?
I was around. They had to find me.
Beanie didn't say this out of bitterness. He said it out of truth. That's what makes this moment powerful. You can hear it in his tone. He's not trying to tear anybody down. He's just putting in perspective where confusion used to live. And honestly, that's what makes this one of Beanie's realest interviews in years. What he said about Bleek being more deserving of that VP spot wasn't a shot at Cam. It was just logic. Because if we're talking about structure and loyalty, Bleek was the heart of Roc-A-Fella Records long before Dipset walked through those doors. He held things down when the label was still building its foundation. He stayed out of drama, stayed loyal to Jay-Z, and kept putting in work without asking for flowers. So when Beanie says Bleek should have been named VP first, it's not an attack, it's an acknowledgement of history. At the same time, Beanie kept it classy. He didn't downplay what Cam brought to the Rock either. Cam came in with that momentum, style, and a whole Harlem wave that gave Roc-A-Fella another spark. That energy made sense business-wise, but emotionally, it threw the original family off balance. Beanie's just saying what a lot of people felt but couldn't say back then. Some of those decisions didn't line up with the culture that built Roc-A-Fella. What I like about Beanie's energy here is that it's mature. He's not talking like a man stuck in 2002. He's speaking like somebody who processed everything and made peace with it. When he said he was hurt for Bleek, that spoke volumes. That's brotherhood, and that's empathy. That's a man who saw another man get overlooked. Not because he wasn't capable, but because the politics of the game shifted. And when you think about Dame Dash in this context, you can see both sides. Dame was trying to expand, build new partnerships, and evolve the brand. But sometimes the business gets too loud, and the human side gets lost in translation. Beanie's words just remind us that leadership isn't only about power moves. It's about recognizing the people who helped you build the foundation in the first place. At the end of the day, this isn't about who should have been VP or who made the better move. It's about recognizing what Roc-A-Fella meant to the culture and how every piece of that puzzle mattered. Beanie, Bleek, Cam, Dame, Jay, they all played a part in one of the most powerful eras in hip-hop history. Without any of them, that dynasty wouldn't have felt the same. So I look at it like this. Beanie didn't expose anybody for clout. He exposed for context. And sometimes that's the only way history gets told right. So let me ask y'all this. Do you think Dame's decision to make Cam VP helped Roc-A-Fella grow? Or did it start the beginning of the end for the label? And if you were Jay-Z, who would you have picked as vice president? Bleek, Cam, or somebody else entirely? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.